They are asleep. You have been holding them for 25 minutes. The breathing is deep, the body is heavy, the little fists are uncurled. So you lower them. Slowly. So slowly, you are barely moving. Your back is screaming. Your arms are burning. You lift your hands away. Their eyes open. And you stand there in the dark, thinking your baby must have some kind of supernatural ability to detect the exact moment you put them down. They do. Sort of. Their brain has a reflex. A documented, completely real reflex. And it fires every single time you put them down for a reason that makes complete sense once someone explains it to you. Nobody ever does. Stay. Because once you understand what is actually happening, you will also know 3 specific things you can change tonight that most parents never try. Your baby's brain arrived in this world with no prior experience of anything. It does not know your house is safe. It does not know the crib is warm and secure. It has no way of knowing any of that yet because it has not been here long enough to learn it. What it has instead are reflexes. Real, documented, measurable reflexes that fire when specific things change in the environment around them. When you are holding your baby, 3 things are constant. Your warmth against their skin, the motion of your breathing and your heartbeat against their body, and the pressure of your arms supporting them. Their nervous system registers all 3 as normal, as baseline, as fine. The moment you start to lower them, all 3 begin to change at the same time. The warmth decreases, the motion fades, the pressure shifts, and the baby's nervous system, which has no framework yet for what a crib feels like versus what being held feels like, reads that change the only way it knows how. Something is different. Signal the alarm. That alarm has a name. It is called the Moro reflex, a documented startle response that every newborn is born with, triggered by a sudden change in position, support, or sensation. You have probably seen it during the day when a baby flings their arms out at a sudden noise or movement. That is the same reflex, the same system, firing in response to the information their body just received. The baby is not scared. They are not protesting. They are not being difficult. They are responding to real sensory information with the only tool they currently have. This is not a behavior problem. This is a reflex doing exactly what reflexes do. And the reason it feels personal, the reason it feels like they are doing it on purpose, is because it is so consistent, every single time, without fail, which makes it feel intentional even though it is completely automatic. The good news is that automatic responses have predictable triggers, and predictable triggers can be worked with. Here is the part that changes everything about how you approach the transfer. Your baby does not just detect that they have been put down. Their body detects the process of being put down. It starts earlier than you think. You have probably already noticed that going slower does not reliably help. Some nights you move at a pace that would make a sloth impatient, and the baby still wakes up. Here is why. The moment you start to lower them, 2 things begin changing simultaneously. Your body heat stops fully surrounding them, and the motion that was keeping them settled, your breathing rhythm, your heartbeat, the slight movement of being held, starts to fade. Their skin receptors and their vestibular system, the part of the inner ear that detects changes in position and motion, both register these changes before the baby is even on the mattress. The alarm starts before the landing. They were already stirring before they touch the surface. The moment the eyes open is just the moment you notice it happened. And here is the part that will explain why going slower sometimes makes it worse. The slower you lower them, the longer the detection window stays open. The longer the detection window stays open, the more time the reflex has to build toward full activation. A faster transfer is not always better either, but the logic that slower equals safer is not accurate. You are not being caught out because you are not careful enough. You are being caught out because the detection system is faster and more sensitive than any transfer speed a human can physically manage. Which means fighting the speed of the transfer is the wrong game entirely. The actual game is reducing what the detection system has to react to. And that starts before you ever try to put them down. If you have had any successful transfers, and most parents have had at least a few, You probably could not explain why those ones worked. Same baby, same crib, same routine. And somehow it worked. And then the next night, it did not. This is not random. There is a reason. Babies cycle through different stages of sleep roughly every 20 to 45 minutes. In deeper stages, their body is less reactive. The Moro reflex and the temperature and motion sensors are still there, but the threshold for triggering them is higher. It takes a bigger change to set the alarm off. In lighter stages, that threshold drops significantly. The reflex fires at much smaller changes. The transfers that worked happened during a deeper stage. The ones that failed happened during a lighter one. That is the entire explanation. Most parents do not know this because they are watching the wrong signals. They watch the eyes. They wait for stillness. They listen for slow breathing. And those things are present in both light and deep sleep. Stillness alone tells you nothing useful. The signal that tells you which stage your baby is actually in is the hands. In lighter sleep, the fingers curl and uncurl, small movements. The face makes micro-expressions, tiny grimaces or almost smiles. The breathing is slightly uneven. These are signs the brain is still relatively active. In deeper sleep, all of that stops. The face goes completely still. The breathing slows and becomes rhythmic. And the hands, specifically the hands, go loose. Not slightly relaxed. Genuinely loose. The tension leaves the fingers completely. That is your green light. Start the transfer within 2 to 3 minutes. Do not wait for more. Babies cycle back toward lighter sleep on their own timeline, and the window does not stay open indefinitely. Wait for the hands. That single change in what you watch for will make more difference than any technique you have ever tried. You cannot switch the reflex off, but you can reduce what it has to react to. Here are 3 specific things that work with the physiology rather than against it. The first is the surface temperature. The single biggest sensory change during a transfer is thermal, a warm body being moved to a cool mattress. The skin receptors that were registering warmth suddenly register a drop in temperature, and that change is one of the main triggers for the alarm. Before the transfer, place a warm water bottle or a heating pad on the mattress for 5 to 10 minutes. Remove it before you put the baby down. The surface is now close to body temperature. The temperature drop that was triggering the alarm is significantly reduced. This one change alone makes a meaningful difference for many families, and it costs nothing. The second is maintaining motion across the transfer. The reflex fires partly because movement stops. So the goal is to not let it stop abruptly. After you place the baby down, keep your hand on their chest and apply gentle rhythmic pressure for 2 to 3 minutes before you slowly lift it away. Hum or shush at the same volume and rhythm you were using while holding them. Give the nervous system one continuous sensory input that does not change during the transfer, so the brain does not register a hard stop. It is not looking for one specific thing to change. It is looking for the moment everything changes at once. Stagger the changes, and you give it less to react to. The third is the most counterintuitive and the one most parents resist. Put them down earlier than you think you should. Most parents wait until the baby seems completely unconscious before attempting the transfer. Understandable. But here is what actually happens. A baby who has been held for 45 minutes has often cycled back from deep sleep into lighter sleep by the time the parent attempts the transfer. The deep sleep window came and went. The parent waited through it looking for more stillness and missed it. Watch for the loose hands. When you feel them, that is the window. Transfer within 2 to 3 minutes, not when you feel ready. When the hands tell you to. Warm surface. Continuous motion across the transfer. Transfer in the window the hands tell you about. Together, these 3 things reduce the number of inputs the alarm has to react to. They will not eliminate the waking entirely, but they change the odds significantly. There is something that does not get said often enough. Some babies have more sensitive reflexes than others. The threshold that triggers the alarm is simply lower. The detection system is faster and more reactive. This is not a sign that something is wrong. It is not a parenting failure. It is neurological variation. Some nervous systems are built more sensitively than others, and a baby born with a highly reactive Moro reflex and highly sensitive thermoreceptors is going to be a harder transfer than a baby born with a calmer baseline. If your baby is one of them, the answer is not to try harder. The answer is to stop measuring your parenting by whether the transfer works. A baby who only sleeps while being held is not developing a bad habit. A baby who wakes every time you put them down is not manipulating you. They are having a genuine physiological response to a real sensory change. Every single time. Holding them is not giving in. It is matching the response their body is giving you. Their nervous system is signaling that it needs contact. Providing contact is not spoiling them. It is responding appropriately to what their body is telling you. The transfer failing is not a reflection of your capability as a parent. It is a reflection of where your baby's nervous system currently sits on the sensitivity scale. And sensitivity decreases as the nervous system matures. It will not always be this way. But right now, in this season, holding them is a completely valid answer. Tonight, when the transfer fails and the eyes open and you are standing in the dark again holding a baby who should be asleep, here is what you now know. It was the Moro reflex responding to a real change in warmth, motion, and pressure. The alarm did its job. It is working exactly as it should. It just has nothing to actually protect them from. It is not about you. It is not about your technique. It is not about what you did wrong. Try the warm surface before the transfer. Keep something moving across the moment of contact. And watch the hands, not the eyes, for the signal that the window is open. And on the nights none of it works, hold them. Not because you ran out of options, because holding them is the right response to what their body is asking for. Their nervous system is doing its job. You are doing yours. You are not failing at this. You are surviving something genuinely hard. There is a real difference between those two things. If this finally explained something that has been happening every night and nobody ever told you why, share it. There is a parent standing in a dark room right now who needs this more than you needed it 5 minutes ago. Subscribe for more, because parenting makes a lot more sense when someone explains what is actually happening inside your baby's body. See you in the next one.